think the moment that it hit me the hardest was we were traveling and we decided to take an alligator boat tour. And we come up to this giant alligator, and then he moves his leg to start swimming, and all of a sudden this plastic bottle pops up from under his arm into the river, and you can just hear the audible like, oh, like probably out of all like the 25 people on the boat. And somebody asked the simple question of, well, why don't they just clean it up? Which seems like a really simple answer to a really complicated question. And unfortunately, you know, they do go and they clean it, but when you remove the trash, it doesn't remove the problem. There's so many issues in the world. Sometimes it seems impossible to pick the one that's gonna be, you know, your issue to go out and fight. But at the end of the day, I don't think every issue has a timeline.
This definitely does.
The environment is currently at a very, we're in crunch time essentially. I'm Nour Al-Houssayni. I'm a now senior at Flagler College studying psychology and minoring in environmental science. And I reached out to Chloe over the summer because I was really interested in making a project, specifically a documentary, about sustainability and just general attitudes towards the environment, mainly focusing on college students, but also just within the community of St. Augustine. And I think it was really easy for me at the time to be really angry and blame others. And it wasn't until a couple months later that I continued to do research and I found the low impact and zero waste lifestyle that I really turned my thoughts inward, and I reflected on, what am I doing? How am I contributing to the problem? I purged my life. I went through everything, or almost everything I owned, and I either sold it, donated it, or kept it, tried to throw as little away as possible. And I just really started looking at the little day-to-day things that I could do, and I'm trying to incorporate habits into my life slowly that would make me and my lifestyle more sustainable in the future. At Flagler, I joined the Sustain Club. I'm a vegan and I volunteer at...
Hey, I'm the president, but honestly, we're kind of all presidents, but on paper, yeah, that's who I am, so whoop-de-doo.
What do you guys care about? What do you want to see different? And I'm currently secretary of Sustain Club, which is a club on campus that is going to promote sustainability not only at Flagler, but also St. Augustine. When I first started my research, I wanted to tackle more low-hanging fruits such as recycling and compost. These are things that students see and they're not seeing it at Flagler, and it's troublesome to a lot of students. He spoke to me about energy efficiency, which is what Flagler is going to strive for, not so much the low-hanging fruit, because there has been difficulty trying to implement recycling and compost. So today I'm going to try and talk to Dr. Cole about how to approach this problem from a student's point of view.
I do think that you have to sell it as it's just a change in behavior versus like a sacrifice, right? Like that you want to like frame the survey to get at the questions, specific questions that you want to answer. Not like, is sustainability a great idea?
Yes
right?
or no? Right.
It's easy, like, the trend lines clearly show that like everyone's gonna be like, it's great, and I drive a car that gets 8 miles to the gallon, right? So, you know, be specific.
I've talked to Dan and Houghton and Kaufman so far, and they're just like, Megan, you have to look at it from a monetary perspective.
You have to, whatever the student body comes up with, if it's going to be effective, it has to be approached from that full cost analysis perspective.
I think a lot of businesses and schools are concerned about finances, and of course they should be, because without money, they cease to exist. But recognizing that you know, without their customers, without the students that pay tuition, there also would be no institutions or businesses. And, you know, if they can find, I have no doubt in my mind that businesses and Flagler can find a way to make green profitable. I truly believe that.
In my own psychological testing class, I have been developing a personality test survey along with 3 other members of my group that we submitted to the Institutional Review Board for approval that would basically be distributed to Flagler College students to see how environmentally conscientious they are. So the thing that's different about us is we're treating this as an actual personality trait. And we're trying to line up that personality trait with sustainable behaviors to really see if we can measure how sustainable our students. Basically, I just want Flagler College to give their students the absolute best opportunity to be sustainable.
Because obviously this campaign isn't just about making yourself
Yeah.
zero waste, it's also about the community. So why don't you tell me a little bit about the businesses that you've been working with here in St. Augustine to kind of help promote a sustainable lifestyle?
Yeah, I don't think I'd say I've been working with them. I think I would say that I've been annoying them more than anything.
I think from what I want to see from a business that I go to regularly is I just want to see that they care, that they're making strides, you know, switching from plastic utensils to reusable utensils that they wash at the end of the day. Instead of doing styrofoam to-go containers, which cannot be recycled and end up in the bin immediately, you know, offering their customers to bring their own to-go container.
Meeting people, you know, like the people from Dog Day Garden. That was just one thing that I could extend past myself, was to reach out to a business that collected food waste and would do the composting for me. And we just open up our fridge, and right up here is our compost. But the good thing about composting is not only are you keeping these items from going into the landfill where they would have a hard time properly decomposing because of the lack of oxygen and circulation, but it's also a really good way to just see exactly what are you buying too much of. It's literally just as easy as it sounds. It's literally just taking this block of frozen food and just dumping it, and you have nothing left over, and that will be turned into compost.
Green Hands Initiative is our way at the amphitheater of reducing our ecological footprint. There are different ways that we use up a lot of energy here, and this is just one thing that we can do while we're having our stay at the state park. It really started in 2016 with the anticipation of Jack Johnson coming. He sent along an eco rider and said, we would love to come to your venue if you can abide by all of these things to be a more ecological friendly event. Things like putting in one-to-one recycling, having a composting bin, a garden, changing out to LED lights, and having water refill stations. What Ryan Murphy was able to do was develop a partnership with Advanced Disposal, and that was able to get Green Hands started. We have a Green Hands booth at every show, and we talk to as many patrons as we can about what we do here at the amphitheater to reduce our ecological footprint. I think the biggest success so far is our Tervis program, which launched in 2018. So far we have used 16,846. We've eliminated that many single-use cups from the landfill.
We do all the recycling for the city of Jacksonville, along with we partner also up with Atlantic Beach and Neptune Beach, Nassau County, and we also get material from St. Johns County and Clay County. biggest thing is empty, clean, dry. So containers, empty, clean, and dry, that's a great start. These ones, plastic bags, they're the worst. Plastic bags are recyclable. You just take them to your grocery store, turn them in. Or find a place that does take the plastic bags. We don't take plastic bags here, but that's the number one thing as far as contaminating a bale on the visual side of it. Yeah, it's light, and we're talking, when I talk 2%, 5%, I'm talking about weight. But when an inspector comes on site and sees a bunch of plastic bags in a bale, he'll just assume. I got a table over there of don'ts that I just pulled from the stream. It's those dog food bags, that's a flexible packaging. We don't take that. There's a propane tank. There's a garbage disposal, a car battery. There's a coaxial cable. There's a Amazon box that has the plastic packaging inside of it. Together, that's trash. We've been investing a lot in social media, just promoting our website that we have called recyclingsimplified.com. A good, short, simple video on the how-to and what not to do when it comes to recycling.
Are we really grateful for what we have? Honestly, I'd just be happy if the seed is planted. If every person that watches this, or not even if every person, if 20%, 30% of people that take the survey or watch the documentary or go to the SJ meeting about the new sustainability policy or goes to a panel, if even just a fraction of those people have a seed planted in them, for me, that's a win.
This is the way of the future. There is no going back.